おはようございます、皆さん。Yokoso. Welcome to week 4 of, sorry, I'm talking kind of quietly because it's early and I am late again. Sorry about that. Yeah, busy week, lots on the go. But I just got to get into it because I actually have a meeting in about an hour. So we're on a timeline here. Just to fit this in, let's start. Let's get to it. Okay, so I think I stopped here last time. I was doing a bit of, I don't know, kind of like more unstructured learning this week, just outside of the podcast that I've been listening to. And one of those resources that I really enjoy watching on YouTube is the Kaname Naito's videos. Yeah, he's just really good at explaining stuff, and his videos are really funny. And yeah, so I just wanted to learn some. He teaches more like kind of casual speech-based things rather than like kind of like the basic textbook stuff. So I think it's kind of good context to know, because like the textbooks and things like that, the like more formal learning resources will teach you like the proper way to say something, but then like in reality people don't really talk like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, let's just hop right in. Okay, so what? I don't know, the video that I was watching just mentioned the word. This is just new vocab. It is a adjective. Niao. Niao means it suits you. So like if somebody's trying on like some clothes or whatever, or you're complimenting their outfit or their new hair or something like that, you say niao, which is like, it looks good, it suits you. Okay, and then so here's an example. Sono fuku niao. Sono fuku niao. And this is a video about, so sono, that, fuku, dress, niao, suits you. So grammatically, or like the proper sentence would be sono fuku wa niao. But in the video, he was talking about how in speech, people usually drop the wa before an adjective when they're expressing a feeling that they're having rather than just like making a statement. So if you were to say sono fuku wa niao, it's more of like that dress suits you, or like that dress is something that looks good on you. Like it's not it feels very like cold almost, like you're just stating a fact. Whereas if you drop the wa, it's more of like sono fuku niao. It's like you're expressing a feeling. And another example that he uses, oishi. So if you're saying like kono ramen wa oishi, it's like you're saying this ramen is good, just as a statement, just as like a, there's no emotion attached. But if you say kono ramen oishi without the wa, then it's like this ramen, delicious. It's like a feeling that you're expressing. So yeah, I put here, sounds, if you use the wa, sounds weird and like you're just like stating a fact, instead of expressing yourself. Okay, so also wa is used for contrast, usually negative contrast, I believe. So if you use wa here, it might sound like you're saying this dress looks good on you, in contrast to all the other dresses that you wear that usually look bad on you. So there's kind of a bit of a nuance there that, if you were to use the particle wa, it would kind of sound like you're, having like a negative context attached to it, if that makes sense. Okay, moving on. And then I looked into, so like last time, I can't remember if it was last time or not, talking about the particle de, and then like we saw that diagram that was really helpful. I went back to that website because it seemed like it was explaining things really well, and they had a article about Japanese sentence structure, which like I have a pretty decent understanding of just based on like the textbook stuff that I've been doing. I know that the topic or subject comes first. The like if I'm the subject, I'm it goes watashi wa blah 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 blah, and the verb comes at the end. So watashi wa mizu o nomimashita. Watashi wa subject, mizu o is the blah blah blah, nomimashita is the verb. But yeah, I just thought it would be good to, review and look at a resource about just like the structure rather than just learning phrases and vocab. Okay, so he starts to say, sorry, I'm assuming it's a he. I think, so 80/20 Japanese is a book. It seems like it's a really good book. I want to buy it. Maybe I will someday. It's a little expensive, but yeah, check out the website. It has a few good free resources on there. Okay, so he starts off to say, in English, the word order in a sentence is usually tells us who did what. So if you say, I ate sushi, it's the word order that lets us know that I ate the sushi. If we said, sushi ate I, then it's like the sushi ate me. Then it changes the meaning of the sentence. But in Japanese, the verb appears last, like I said, but the word order between, the subject and the verb doesn't matter as much to tell us who did what, or what the sentence actually means. And then, so it explains des sentences. So des equals, it's like a verb, it's like kind of a verb, which means to be, is, or am, it's just like an existence word or whatever. So like a basic sentence using des is, kore wa kuruma desu. So kore wa is a marker that marks the subject of the sentence. So kore, I'm pointing at something, this is the subject. Kore wa kuruma desu. Kuruma is what it is. Desu is the verb of the thing is something. So particle wa, like I said, is used to point at the word before it. Yeah, okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the topic is this, the car, it is a car, that's the information. And then des is the verb, which is to be. And then the thing before des should be a noun or an adjective. Right. Okay. And then, next, particles. Particles tell us the role each word plays in a sentence. Particles define the role of the word that comes before them. So, watashi wa is marking watashi, which comes before it as the topic. Mizu o is marking mizu, water, as a object that you're about to do something with, or to. So that's how the structure works, which I didn't really, I guess I knew, but I've never really like put it into an explanation before, or like understood that like Japanese sentences are made up of word particle, that's one bracket, word particle, another bracket, word particle, another bracket, verb. So particle wa defines the topic of a sentence, like I said. Particle o defines to whom or to what an action is done. So, mizu o nomimashita. Mizu o says this is what we're doing things to. Nomimashita is what is done to it. Okay, so here's an example. Taro wa noriko o mimashita. Taro wa is the topic, so we know we're talking about taro. Noriko o, noriko is the object. Mimashita, that he saw. So technically, the below sentence means the same as the above, but below is unnatural because the topic usually comes first. So you could say, because the particles stick with the words, noriko o taro wa mimashita. It still means the same thing, but the order's weird because taro, the subject, should come first. Okay, moving on. So here's another one. What do we got? So, 太郎は日曜日にのりこを上で見ました。So, Taro, the subject, the person, 日曜日に on Sunday, のりこを object, のりこ上で at the house, and we use de because you're doing an action at a location, so ue is the place where the action took place. Mimashita, saw. Past tense is the action of seeing. Noriko. So topic and time should be at the beginning, verb should be at the end, but the stuff in the middle can kind of be wherever. So yeah, I feel like this applies in, I don't know, most sentences that I've learned. I feel like when you're talking about yourself, you can drop the watashi wa typically, and then you would just say like 日曜日に blah 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 blah, or like 毎日 every day, or like 昨日 yesterday, 今日 today. It like kind of sets the context of what you're about to say time wise. So that comes at the beginning. Okay, so 日曜日に太郎は Oh, okay, yeah, so 日曜日 can, if you are going to say the topic of the sentence, which is taro, 日曜日, the time can, oops, fuck, sorry guys. I gotta remember to turn that off when I do these. Yeah, so 日曜日 can come first, as long as they're both kind of at the beginning. So 日曜日に太郎はのりこを上, oh fuck, I'm like, this says eki. Oh my god, haha, I read it wrong. I just looked at this and I saw the e and I was like, ue, stupid. Eki is this word, okay? Eki, which is station. Eki de mimashita. So this is perfectly natural as well. Time phrases can often come before the topic. Okay, let's move on to adjectives. How are we doing on time? Pretty good, pretty good. Okay. Adjectives and describing nouns. So adjectives and descriptors attach before the noun that they describe. So for example, aoi kuruma. Aoi is an adjective meaning blue. Or we have watashi no kuruma. So watashi no is also kind of an adjective, I guess, because you're making it, oh no, I guess, okay, so watashi no is a describing noun. So you're describing the kuruma, the car, as yours. And you're using particle no, which is the possession particle. So these expanded noun phrases do not change the structure of a sentence. So whatever the adjective is or the describing words that attach to the noun is kind of like become one with the noun. So for example, 車でうちに that does say うち車でうちに行きました車でうちに行きました So that's the sentence. And then you could say 私の車でうちに行きました So it's the same sentence. You're just specifying that the kuruma that you're going to use to drive to the house, to go to the house, is your car. So that just attaches in the same bucket here. Okay, no indicates possession. Yeah. So no can be used to connect any two things of which the second word belongs to the first word, right? So Taro no pen, Taro's pen. So the pen belongs to Taro. Or it could be used for like more conceptual things like kino no ame, the rain of yesterday. Kino no ame. Yeah. watashi no kuruma. Kuruma belongs to watashi, me. Okay, great. La la la. Okay, so this is now from another Kaname Naito vid. So people don't really use anata. So I think this is the video talking about how to say you, or like, address somebody that, when you're addressing somebody else in a sentence in English, you say you, right? Like who are you, But in Japanese, so you learn that the word anata is for you, but like people don't really use anata, the word anata. It's kind of weird. So people don't really use anata when addressing other people unless emphasizing in a debate or like a negative kind of argument, or like, it's kind of harsh, I guess. Instead, they use their name. So, Yoshida-san, do desu ka? Yoshida-san, do desu ka? How, which is like, how are you? But you use the person's name, which I feel like if you watch like, Japanese shows or like anime and stuff like that, you hear that a lot. Like people address each other by their name a lot. Sometimes people will address themselves by their name, like in the third person. It's interesting. Nobody says anata, or sometimes they'll use other words like, omae or teme. It's just like more rude, kind of harsh ways of saying you, but it can either be used in that way, or like he said that, if you can get the vibe right, then you can use those words, but it's very advanced. Yeah. So, okay. Okay, and then he talks about this concept called yobisute. Yobiste, which is to call somebody by their name without an honorific, so without using san or whatever. Don't do this, he said, unless it's like a family member or a very close friend, because it's very rude. If you know somebody, like a stranger or like an acquaintance or whatever's name, say like you go to the convenience store and like somebody's wearing a name tag and their name is Yoko, and you just say, Yoko, tamago kudasai, or whatever, that's very rude. You have to say, usually it's the last name and then san, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know the nuances around saying the first name versus the last name. I guess it's like kind of either, but it needs the honorific unless you're really, really close to them. Yeah, he explains that calling somebody by their name without an honorific can be extremely rude unless you're there with that person. And once it's safe, then it's like a marker of being super close to somebody. But if you're not there yet, then it's kind of like overstepping a boundary kind of thing. So it's like, okay. So then there was another video where he explains the term yatsu, which now that I know the word, when I was watching Terrace House later, like I would hear people, use it and say it. So it's pretty interesting. So yatsu is basically the word for like guy or like thingy or like that one. So like in English, if you don't know what something is or what something is called, you'll be like, what's that one that's like, if you're talking about like a movie or something, for example, like that movie, that one with, fucking Ben Stiller or whatever, that's kind of the yatsu is that kind of everything word. So for example, sono akai yatsu. So if you're pointing at something red, you don't know what it is. Sono akai yatsu. Yatsu is the thing. It's like a noun, I guess. Yeah. it's like a noun substitute. Or so takai no yatsu. That, okay, so takai means tall or expensive. And also yatsu means guy. Usually it's like, just the equivalent of using guy. It's like kind of male. There's like a male vibe to it. I guess you could call, women guys, or like, hey guys or whatever. But yeah, it is kind of like a masculine kind of word, I guess, associated to that. So takai no yatsu. Why did I put no there? I don't know if that's right, actually. It might actually should be like just takai yatsu. I don't know. Anyways, takai means either tall or expensive, so, and I don't know if this is right, but like with my logic, takai yatsu, I guess, depending on the context, could be tall guy, or tall thing over there, or expensive thing. So, yeah, it's just contextual, but it seems like a useful word to know. Yatsu. Okay, moving on. My throat is getting a little... Okay, and then now we're back to listening to the Japanese with Masa Sensei podcasts. Okay, so yeah, in one of the episodes, she expands on particle de. So use particle de when talking about a tool that you use to do something, or a language that you use to communicate. So in that context, the language is a tool that you use to communicate. So both of those use de as the means in which something is done. Okay, so 日本語で話します. So I speak using Japanese. That is the means by which I speak. 日本語で話します. And then there's just a bunch of vocab here. So hashi is chopsticks. Hashi. Spoon is spoon. Fork is fork. Knife is knife. Te is hand. 鉛筆 is pencil. Koppu is cup, but specifically like either like a glass or just like a normal cup, no handles, just a cup, is koppu with the ko. And then there's also kappu, which is specifically a cup with a handle, so like a mug or something like that. And then there's also gurasu, which is just like a glass cup, like what you would imagine if you say glass in English. Okay, so watashi, did I write? Well, I wrote wa the wrong way here. Watashi wa koppu de mizu wo nomimasu. Watashi wa, imagine this is the right wa. Watashi wa koppu de mizu wo nomimasu. So I drink is at the end. Water is mizu wo, that's the object. Koppu de is with a cup. So that is the means by which I drink water, with a cup. The cup is the tool. So what's next? Hashi de, so watashi wa hashi de gohan o tabemasu. So hashi is the tool that I use. Gohan is dinner, the object in which I tabemasu, eat, which is the verb. お母さんと日本語を話します。So お母さんと we're using と as the like together with particle. So お母さんと日本語. Oh, why did I put o there? I guess it should be で. Lol, sorry. 日本語で because 日本語 is a tool that we use to communicate. お母さんと日本語で imagine that で話します. So with my mother, Japanese is used to speak. That makes sense, because if it was o, then o would be marking that Japanese is being spoken to, I guess, because the o marks that the verb is happening to it. Okay, cool. And then some more vocab. Oksan is wife. Shujin is my husband, specifically. Goshujin is your husband or somebody else's husband. You can't call somebody else's husband shujin. It's goshujin. And I feel like there's other words for husband and wife. I learned this like a long time ago, that like these words are like very, like the actual translations of them are pretty outdated. And so I feel like, I don't know, like I do hear the word oksan and stuff in like terrace house. But shujin means like master. I guess it's just like one of those things like where, you know, the history of the word comes from. But there are other words for husband and wife that I think younger people use maybe. Okay, some more verbs. Okay, so there's a bit of a context here. So I forget if we talked about these words before, but akemas, sorry, agemas, my bad. Agemas is I give something to somebody. Kuremas is someone gave me, specifically in that way. So agemas is I am the subject and I gave something to somebody else. Kuremas is somebody else is the subject and they gave to me. So I'm not the subject and I'm receiving. They are the subject and they are giving. Okay? Kuremas. And then moraimasu. Moraimasu is I'm the subject and I'm receiving. Okay, so kuremasu is when the giver is the subject, giving to somebody, to me, I guess. Moraimasu is when the receiver is the subject. So if I'm receiving, I'm the subject. So, watashi wa ane ni, so ane is older sister. Watashi wa ane ni, so ni is the target particle. Targeting, so like ane ni is the target. Hon o moraimashita. Watashi wa ane ni hon o moraimashita. So I am the topic. My sister is the target of. Hon o is the object. Moraimashita, I received. So my sister gave me a book. You can also use kara instead of ni here. So you could say ane kara. Kara is the particle to describe from something. So it could be watashi wa ane kara, from my sister. Hon o moraimashita, I received a book. Versus using kuremasu. Ane wa, so my sister, watashi ni, me. I'm confusing myself. But I think this is how it works. I guess I'm a little bit confused with the particle ni because I couldn't say watashi kara because that doesn't make sense. Anyways, ane wa watashi ni hon o kuremashita. So my sister gave me, so me is the target, hon o kuremashita, gave me a book. So, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out this ni. So if my sister is the target, moraimashita is received. So I guess the verb implies that there was, somewhere the book came from because I received it. So my sister is the target of that, of the act, of the verb. I don't know. I'm confusing myself. Anyways, do we get it though? Just like verb-wise, moraimashita is I received something. Kuremashita is somebody gave me. Okay. I'm hungry. What the hell? Okay. Otou-san wa... Okay, so this is the kara thing. Otou-san wa okasan kara hana o moraimashita. So, can also use kara for from instead of ni to target the giver. So, otou-san wa, my father, okasan kara, from my mother, hana o moraimashita, gave flowers, or received flowers. So, the subject, my father, received flowers from my mother. Okasan kara. Okay. And then another verb, I guess, is denwa o kakemasu. Kakemasu. And then I googled what kakemasu means, because kakemasu is a verb, obviously. So denwa is phone. So denwa o kakemasu. Denwa, kakemasu happens to the phone. Kakemasu apparently is like a verb for like starting to do something, or just like kind of a, kind of like a shimasu kind of thing. But kakemasu, like, I don't know the nuances, but the verb to make a phone call is denwa o kakemasu. Are wa, so are is older brother. Are wa watashi ni, I'm the target. Denwa o kakemashita. So my brother called me. My brother made a phone call to me, the target. Okay. Okay. Next page. Still good on time. We're making really good time here. I'm not worried. I think it's because I'm like very specifically not Googling things because we don't have time to Google. But this was a lot of learning, so that's good. Okay, and then it gets into, another episode gets into adjectives specifically. So there's e adjectives and na adjectives. So a bunch of e adjectives. We have oki. I tried writing the kanji here just because the kanji is very simple. Oki, chisai. Oki, chisai. If you've ever gone to Japan and used a Japanese toilet and they have like the big flush and the little flush, this is the kanji that you'll see for big, and this is the kanji that you'll see for small. So oki, big, chisai, small, atarashi, new, furui, old, ii, good, warui, bad, atsui, hot, samui, cold, tsumetai is cold as well, atatakai is warm. So the nuance between these four words is that tsumetai is used to describe cold things, while samui is used to describe cold weather. Atsui and atatakai can be used to describe both things and weather, but atsui is hot, like hotter, and atatakai is warm, just, warm. So it's like atsui, atatakai, tsumetai, and samui are kind of on the same level, just used for different things, whereas these two can be used for either. Muzukashii is difficult, and then I made a mistake here. Kantan is a na adjective, so you would have to say kantan na test or whatever. So it was an easy test. You have to use the na particle, or sorry, na, you have to add na when describing. So kantan na test or whatever. Takai is either high or pricey, expensive, high price. Hikui is low. Yasui is cheap. Omoshiroi is interesting or amusing. Oishii is yummy. Umai is delicious. They kind of mean the same thing. It's just umai is more, it's more like expressive kind of. Oishii is like, this is good. Umai is like, oh, fuck yeah, that's so good. Like, Akai is red. Aoi is blue. Kuroi is black. Shiroi is white. I'm pretty sure with the E on there makes it into an adjective, but the word for red, just on its own, is aka. The word for blue is ao. The word for black is kuro. The word for white is shiro. So with the E on there, it's describing something else. So you would say akai kuruma or whatever. Red car. Red is the adjective now. So E adjectives are simply paired with nouns to create noun phrases. So for example, ii hito, good person. Ii hito. Or, like I said, akai kuruma, red car. So it attaches to the noun, and then to use that in a sentence, you would use that together with whatever particle comes with that noun. So, ii hito, ii hito o mimashita. I saw a good person. And then some na adjectives. We have kirei. So, okay, I'll explain this in a little bit. Kirei means pretty or like, beautiful. Handsome is handsome. Shinsetsu means like kind, but more towards like being like hospitable and considerate. Versus yesssss, which is an E adjective, also means kind, but it's more like, sweet, gentle, kind-hearted, like yesssss. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but that's an E adjective. So back to na. Genki is a na adjective, so like lively, healthy, energetic. Yume is famous. Shizuka is quiet. So to use na adjectives, you have to add na when paired with nouns. So just whatever the na adjective is, plus na, plus noun. So for example, I'll come back to this. So for example, kirei na josei. This is the kanji for josei, which I need to memorize. Kirei na josei. Kirei na josei. Josei is woman. Kirei na is pretty. So pretty woman. Or shizuka na machi. Machi is town. Shizuka na machi. So you have to have the na there before the noun. Versus like if I were to use an E adjective, what could I say? I could say iimachi. I don't need the na. It wouldn't be inamachi. It would be inachi. Fuck. Iimachi. Good town versus shizuka na machi. Shizuka being a na adjective, na machi to describe the machi. And then just these few little vocabs. Machi is town. Tokoro. Tokoro is place. So you can use this in the same way that you would use, like, do you want to come back to my place? You could use tokoro there as well. Watashi no tokoro, my place. But also it's just like place. Mountain is yama. Room is heya. Heya. Kirei na heya. I think kirei you can use to say something is clean as well. I guess if we're going to Google something, can I use kirei as clean? Yeah, okay, so kirei is both pretty, but if you're saying, you know, a room is very clean, you could say kirei na heya, to say it's clean. And that's it, right? Yeah. That's it for today. I have a good 30 minutes before my meeting, so that's good. I gotta prep for that anyways. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, I guess. I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, gonna study more this week. I want to learn more vocabulary because I feel like especially this week learning, you know, more like sentence structure things and how to use particles. I've always kind of been like scared of particles because I guess like I didn't really understand them. And also I learned particle wa versus particle ga pretty early, and I still don't understand it. Like I tried learning it, but it's just like one of those like super complicated things. You just kind of gotta know, I guess. So like I started there, and so I thought like, fuck, are all of the particles like this? Because there's a lot of different particles. But no, looking into it now, like most particles are pretty simple. They just attach to the word before them, and you build your sentence using the sentence structure that we talked about. So knowing that, I feel like I can get a pretty good understanding of like what somebody is saying as they're saying it based on the particles used. I just need to know more vocabulary so that if somebody says a word, I can understand what the fuck they're talking about. So I think that's what I want to focus on this week, if I can. And yeah, I'll just continue listening to those podcasts and, you know, when I want to, if I see an interesting video on YouTube by a Japanese learning channel or whatever, then I'll look at that and study that. So yeah, it's going well. I'm having fun. This is fun. It's good. Okay. Yeah, I will see you guys in another one of these and next week. Have a good week. Talk to you later.